Hey guys, it's LSuperSonicQ here to reveal some more scrapped ideas, unused concepts, and previously forgotten plans for some Sonic the Hedgehog themed clay sculptures. This video was originally supposed to be a direct sequel to my first planned clay models video, however, upon remembering old concepts that never came to be, every single one of them ended up being Sonic related. So here are some ideas for some Sonic sculptures that never came to be. The first clay set that comes to mind when thinking about more of my failed clay plans involved the Sonic Adventure mini stage set. Back around the time I was sculpting Sonic Adventure full character models, I had the idea to create small dioramas of every character in one of their respective stages from the game. It was a pretty cool idea, and I think the set was supposed to make emphasis on the idea that they were going to be small, miniature figures. However, I only got as far as thinking about Sonic and Tails and Skydeck before forgetting about or abandoning the idea. Aside from probably not wanting to do big or Amy, a lot of this concept was probably created out of the hype from Sonic and MK2, so once the hype died down and I continued to work on other already in production sets, this set ultimately never came to be anything but an idea. Speaking of Sonic, I also had plans to sculpt an ambitious large sculpture of Sonic riding on top of Tails' plane from either Sonic Adventure or the Sonic OVA movie, I can't remember which one exactly. It was presumably going to be sculpted out of pre-colored clay, as was the only clay used during the late 2000s era. The biggest reason why I believe this model never came to be is because I was too intimidated by the plane. The plane would be the central aspect of the piece, and if that didn't look good or got messed up, then the entire model would look bad. Not to mention, I knew there would probably be trouble scaling the plane with Sonic and Tails. I had this vision in my head of a massive Sonic atop a tiny plane, not only smudgy and off character himself, but his weight and position would also distort the plane itself had I even captured it accurately. Understandably, from this time in my sculpting, I can understand why I never attempted it. However, this excuse was used for most unproduced clay models from around this time, and to think I didn't even try makes me wonder what if I did. To briefly mention this model, I was originally planning to sculpt a larger Knuckles based off of his appearance from the Sonic OVA movie. I'm not really sure why I never got around to this, probably because sets were more the thing back around this time, not so much single characters of which I couldn't really base a set around. But if there was some kind of connection to the Sonic and Tails plane sculpture and this one, then presumably the previous model's cancellation was the reason for this one being cancelled as well. Moving on, I once had plans again in the late 2000s to sculpt the Sonic Adventure 2 battle set made up of all the characters from the game, except to make them a little different, I was going to add all of their power-up items that they get in-game. Now, I'm not very surprised why this set never happened. First of all, I was going to have to sculpt characters like Rouge, Eggman, and Tails, which I'm not a huge fan of anyway when it comes to sculptures, so already the set was flawed. Second was the fact that once again my skills at the time were not as good as they are now, and just the thought of having to accurately scale the entire set with intricate details on each character, totally unique to each character, was far beyond my abilities. And third is that once again, at the time I already had many established sets that I was working on, so I probably felt that more Sonic was not needed. However, this idea did see some kind of reincarnation years later with the Sonic Adventure 2 Master Sculpt series. Back around the time I was finding out about the cancelled Sonic game, Sonic Xtreme, I stumbled upon the official site which had several renders of the in-game models of the main characters that were going to be used had the game actually seen production. They were just great renders of the characters. They had complete 360-degree angles. Due to how much I liked the 3D models and the fact that I was given all the angles I needed, I probably thought a trio of large and classic-looking Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles sculptures would have been cool at the time. But it shouldn't surprise you that just like all the other Sonic models, these ones never got made. There must have been a point back then where I was just grabbing straws at anything that I thought would make a good sculpture without really considering the real investment in a clay set. Similar to the Sonic Xtreme set, I was thinking about making a Sonic Shuffle set as well back then, because I was able to find great CG renders of the in-game models, and I thought it would be really useful to use for a clay set, despite myself not caring about Sonic Shuffle in the least or even having played it. At some point though, I may have scrapped the idea for the set and moved intentions towards single models, simply using Sonic Shuffle's in-game model's appearance. However, those never came to be anything more than a thought either. And finally, if you guys remember back to my Super Real Sonic set, which was supposed to contain the best character sculpts of the time, back when I was sculpting the initial set, I was thinking about ways to extend its life, so I had plans to sculpt Tails and Eggman as well, which are two of the series' oldest characters, thus feeling the importance to include them in the set. However, I pretty much mentally scrapped them after a little while because while I was planning on sculpting them, I kinda knew I was never going to get to them because I didn't really like them enough to dedicate large sculptures to them, and I thought that I could easily choose other Sonic characters to add to the set instead if I really wanted to extend it. However, after the last model, which was presumably Super Sonic, was sculpted, I never added anyone else to the set, so it remains like this today. So that is it for this time. We'll look back at some plans for Sonic sculptures that never got made. I'm LSuperSonicQ, thanks for watching, until the next video, Finn.